Wow, it has been an age. It feels like it for me anyway, since I've been doing these videos. I don't know how long it's been, but it's been a week or two of solid work. But then again, lots of study, lots and lots of content to come to document, particularly and to share, of course, within the Turning Points group. The last video that I put up was to do with releasing your expectations. Approaching, say, constantly disappointing um, areas of your life where you just seem to be going in circles. You seem to be going around and round, and there was sort of different solutions to that, perhaps, or options to look at it, perhaps with fresh eyes. But I also there was something extra that I've sort of discovered over the last week or so, which is kind of tagged on to that, and that is this idea. When we're talking about expectations, this idea of collective expectations. I've been listening to a guy, very famous guy, Deepak Chopra. A particular idea that he was talking around was this idea of a cognitive commitment. Sounds a bit sort of technical, but basically what it means is that we have been um, basically hypnotized, or he calls it the hypnosis of social conditioning, which means basically on a level that is perhaps below our consciousness, that we have bought into an idea of what it is to live in this world. We've not really challenged some of the larger issues of life, just a little bit, to a point where you are in a situation where you can make changes. Um, and so I think it's all really to do with our perception, and our interpretation. Because what we get to a point of is, say there's something that we want to change in our lives, and I said we keep going round in circles. We kept getting to this point where we're continually arriving at this same point where we're just not seeming to move forward with it. We need to come up with a different way of dealing with things, and it's because of our perception, and it's because of our interpretation that has we've been through social conditioning. We've been introduced to a point where it becomes our belief system. He talks about aging, for example, and not. I don't feel as though I'm aging, but some people worry about that. Um, and he said, there is a marvelous experiment that was done in Boston, Harvard Medical School. They looked at, they wanted a load of people to come forward that were 70 and above. And basically, they said the experiment is, let's pretend that it was 20 years ago, and for 10 days, just 10 days, they were back in the 50s, or in their 50s. And what was going on? They were playing them films, they were playing the music, they were having discussions around those topics of the time. Um, and they did the experiment, and just after 10 days in this immersive environment, everything changed for them. Their strength increased, their mental acuity increased, um, and they were just being themselves. They weren't being false in any way, but they were just immersed in this environment. And for me, I think the environment that you're in definitely impacts your belief system. Definitely, if you, there is a wonderful saying. The only reason we get old and die is because we see people getting old and die. It's a very, very simple premise, but when you look at it and you think, "Wow, actually, is that what I'm meant to do? Is it at this age? Is that what I'm meant to do?" And I'm not saying, just fight it. And what I'm saying is just question, what it is you're doing, and in that you become more of a choice maker than a victim of social conditioning, that kind of thing. Um, Something a little bit deeper as well is it gets you to a point where you start realizing that any thoughts that you create, and I'm really big on that, what we think about expands. it's this idea that you are the thinker of the thought, not the thought. So that implies that you have choice. And when you have choice, that's really empowering. There will be people saying, well, I'm clumsy, I'm lazy, I'm just not organized. That's the thought. And you're not the thought. You are the thinker of the thought. So therefore you can change it. For me, it's all about this idea of when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And that's, a Wayne Dyerism. But basically, such a profound statement. So, I think moving around this idea of expectation is really interesting to me currently. The sun is absolutely battering down here in sunny Exmouth in the UK, and I need to get out in it. But I just wanted to add that to the expectation idea. I think we we sometimes allow stuff in, and I just want you to try and perhaps challenge some of these long-held beliefs. I have no intention of getting old. I've got no intention whatsoever, and I'm certainly not going to follow patterns that I see around me because there's just for me so much to do. When people are living in Tibet, although we don't live there, till 120, then I've got a lot of stuff to do. So it really is a case of looking at things differently, trying to move away from this the victim mentality that you are sort of you're feeling a bit overwhelmed. It can be subtle. It can be just a little change that can make a huge, huge deal to your life and, of course, your day. In fact, so go out there, have a look around you. It really is eye-opening when you see what you're expected to believe and perhaps what society expects you to become. And I, for one, am not really ready for that kind of. Uh, I'll call it giving up. I'm not giving up at all, and I'm certainly not giving in to that idea. So see what you think, and I've got one day off, so there's possibly going to be a couple of videos today because I've got lots to document, lots to get out, and you have a good day because I certainly intend to.